Welcome to the Indie Corner. We talk about all things independent comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Seamus.
And today, people, we're back at again another episode of the Indie Corner podcast. Specifically, technically, this is going to be our first episode because I want to start this off for the first week of October. But it's our first episode of Fright Month. Yeah, so our horror event for the month of October. And yeah, that's our thing, James. We're literally just going like, ooh. but yeah, so yeah, it's our the first week. This is technically going to be our first video for the event Fright Month, our horror themed event for October. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about a book that me and Seamus love, adore. It was one of my favorite. I think it was on my top 10 favorite books of last year. And I think Seamus was. I think it was definitely on your list for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we did a podcast of that, so that'll be in the corner. If y'all want to check that out. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about the book, "The Nice House on the Lake," written by James Tynion IV and drawn by Alvaro Martinez Bueno. But here's the interesting thing, Seamus, because we're the indie corner. We mostly cover independent publishers, right? Because strange thing is, The Nice House on the Lake is technically a DC Black Label book.
Yeah,
but
it's very weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but
I would say it's indie enough. It's indie enough that, like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, it's not technically actually indie, but like, no, you know what I mean? Like, it's a James Tynion IV horror book that has no relation to the DC universe. So I'm gonna say it.
It kind of shows that, like, DC Black Label is literally just Vertigo, but just rebranded because they're doing out of continuity, like, separate books that have no superheroes in there at all. But so it's Black Label, but I'm calling this Vertigo because, like, it feels like a Vertigo book. Like, that's what
Vertigo's the cooler name too.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Nice House on the Lake horror book. And I can't wait to talk about it because me and Seamus love this book. We praised it on our podcast, on that one podcast we did last year. But yeah, so we'll get into it. But so cue the spooky horror music. Yeah, we'll just get right into it. So we're gonna be talking about Nice House on the Lake number 1. And bro, I always forget. I forgot the slides, bro. Come on, I forgot to put the slides up. But it's okay. I'll fix that right now. But Nice on the Lake number 1. So Seamus, real quick, you want to talk about the cover right quick? What are your thoughts on the cover?
So when I first saw this and like the cover and the solicitations, I was like, what the fuck is this? Because it just looks like such an insane, like it's just all the bones in the lake, and then you see the house itself, and it was just like I was immediately in. I was immediately like, all right. This is a pre-order. I don't pre-order books usually, but I pre-ordered this one because I was just like, I love James Tynion, and this also looks like insane.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, I remember seeing this book on this cover on the stands, and I was like, nah, this about to be bought. Like, because I think it's incredible. The foreground with the woman covered in like a lake of just skeletons and bones, and you see the house just glowing up all creepy in the background, in the dark background. I thought it was so cool. But yeah, man. So we'll just get right into it. So started off, it basically focuses on, and the way the book is written, it focuses on these kind of like little like intro like scenes. So the first page literally starts off with one of the main characters, Ryan. What is in the future? Actually, it's a future version of Ryan. It's very apocalyptic type of landscape, and she pretty much talks about how she first met her friend Walter, and Walter's a very overencompassing character throughout the entirety of the series, and yeah, just talking about how they met and what her thoughts of him, impressions were, how he seemed very nice, very welcoming, but also very mysterious, and also he seemed very intrigued on getting to know other people and what they're about. And she talks about how they went on like kind of like a casual, like, I would say date, like they just went on a night out. And he kind of brings up the question of like, how did she think the world would end? And it's very creepy. It's a kind of very creepy atmosphere in terms of why it brings up that question. And Martinez does a really good job with the art, making Walter very like elusive and just kind of creepy and mysterious, because Walter wears these glasses and you never really see his eyes. It's just pure white, so it's just ooh. But Ryan pretty much kind of goes through these points where like she makes pretty convincing points how like the world and everything that's set up in the world, like systems don't really last forever, and the world is ultimately going to collapse on itself anyway. So that's pretty much how I see the end of the world. And Walter pretty much looks at her and is just like, huh, interesting take on that. And that's pretty much it. And yeah, I mean, then Ryan pretty much, future Ryan goes for, continues talking about how like, even though she didn't see Walter for like, I think 2 years after that, she always wondered why, why she didn't really hear from him for all these years. And then until she realized when she got the email, and that's when the book starts. And we see, an email that Walter sends to her and a bunch of other people about a summer getaway at this lake house that his friend renting. And he wants everyone, even though all of his friends are in different parts of different parts of the country or the world, he wants to have a summer weekend getaway where they can all come together and make up for lost time. And that's pretty much it. So then that's how the story of The Nice House on the Lake begins. And I have to put this title card because I think it's so great how they incorporate that in the book. It makes it feel more of like a horror film or like a horror series, It's really well done. So yeah, transitions to now the present day, where we see Ryan, who there's little captions that are here that give us a little bit of backstory on each character and the designations that Walter gives them for the theme of the party of the weekend. So Ryan, 26, also gives the codename The Artist, and it also says that she met Walter during the New York, referred to as the New York cluster, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So Ryan pretty much walks up to the steps of the house, is in awe that she's even there, and is curious to see like who else made it. And then that's when she runs into Nora, who is 34 and is referred to as the writer, and is part of the high school cluster and is one of Walter's high school friends. And it's also noted that Nora is a trans woman and is so is the trans representation of the whole series. Love this character, love her. But yeah, she pretty much she runs into Nora, and Nora's pretty much talking about how she hasn't really like wanted to see the house because she didn't want to she couldn't really believe, she didn't want to believe the reality that she was going to be stepping in this luxury place until she had someone else to do it with. So she puts her cigarette out, and Ryan and her both step into the house. And then we see the interior of the house, and it's gorgeous, literally huge glass window, high-end kitchen, living room. It's pimped out. I mean, it's definitely a nice house to be in during the summer. And that's where you run into David, who is known as who's given the codename the Comedian, and is a part of also the New York cluster. And I think he said he's his first encounter 11 years ago at the Consultant, who we'll see in a second, his 21st birthday. And David is also from off rip. He's the comedian, so he's a very funny. I think he's a pretty funny character, but also a very elusive, carefree, like happy-go-lucky type of guy. And he's also talking about how crazy the house is as well, and is in shock that they're going to be there. Transitions again to two other new characters, which are Molly, who is referred to as the accountant, who is a part of the high school cluster, so another of Walter's high school friends, as well as Veronica, who is referred to as the scientist, and it was a part of the high school cluster as well, so another high school friend of Walter's. And Molly's talking about how she's very excited to do some kayaking and get a chance to go out and see the lake, while Veronica is more focused on being a scientist, most focused on the telescope that she's going to use because she wants to check out the stars. And note, I want to point here that in red it says that Veronica, due to her being a scientist, has a government link directly to NASA, which is kind of maybe a reason why she's here. And then I want to point out as well that the moment Nora spots Veronica and says hi to her, they kind of just they say hi. They both say hi to her back, but in a very offish kind of way. Just so there's a little bit of tension here. Transitions outside to where we get to see two more characters. So now we're going from the living room to outside of the deck, and we get introduced to Sam, who is 34 and is given the codename the Reporter, and his boyfriend Arturo, who is 36 and is referred to the codename the acupuncturist. And Sam is another one of it belongs to the high school cluster, and Arturo is from the New York cluster, and they're both just outside on the deck, the patio, taking in the beautiful view of the lake, and it's gorgeous. And also, and when Sam gets reintroduced to Ryan because they've met before in the past, even though he doesn't really remember, he was shocked because he was referred to as he was referred to as the artist, and he was expecting their other high school friend Reggie, who I guess which he assumes isn't going to show up because Ryan is here, and he was looking forward to reconnecting with Reggie. Transitions to another scene outside by the pool. Ryan gets introduced to Naya, who's 34, is referred to as the doctor, and Rick, her boyfriend, who is referred to as the pianist, and they're both from New York cluster, and they're talking about as well going through the itinerary that's happening, and all these plans that Walter has, and also they don't really understand the whole idea of the symbols and the names for everybody, but I guess that's everyone just that's a part of the theme, or a theme that Walter is planning with the event. Also forgot to mention the consultant, who is Sarah Radnitz, 32, from the New York cluster, and she has a government link to the Democratic National Committee. So they have a link to one of the biggest science facilities in the world, and someone specifically in a side of the government, which is cool. So now everyone's reconvening and being introduced and reconnecting with each other, and that's when Walter shows up, and that's pretty much it. So it transitions to an email where it's pretty much the email that Walter sends out to Ryan, and it's pretty much all the information in terms of the trip, airfare, how they're going to get there, and the whole idea of the code names and all that stuff, and how the whole house is going to be structured. Transitions to that following night, where they have kind of a little bit of a pool party. Everyone is talking and having fun by the pool. They're on Walter, and then Walter's grilling some steaks and making them some dinner. And I don't know about you, Seamus, but I kind of found it very interesting how all of the bubbles are just written in blue, and they're all just scribbles and kind of nonsense, just to show like just casual chatter that doesn't really mean anything. I don't know what your thoughts on that, this layout of the page or anything like that.
I really fuck with all the paneling in this entire book, because it's just so well done and it flows so well, and I love the choice to have just like random babble that you hear at parties that just turns into mush when you're walking by it, and you're like, I'm not listening to anything that anyone's saying. You might get like a word here or there, but
exactly.
I really love this page. When I first read it, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, and it really gives that vibe of like all this party babble that no one really pays attention to. So I think you portrayed that with the lettering and with the bubbles and the panel layout. I thought that was really cool. But while this is happening, Walter kind of takes a look at Ryan. Ryan is kind of by herself in the corner and decides to go on her phone and check some Twitter, see what's going on in the world. And once she sees her screen, she is kind of in horror, because she sees a variety of tweets. Most of Twitter is kind of going awry, because apparently a massive series of fires and explosions is happening throughout the course of New York, where obviously she is from. and you see these various tweets of, you know, people confused. They don't know where this is coming from and all that stuff, like how this happened. Some people think it's you know, some people think it's only happening in New York, but then other reports are saying that it's coming from all over the world, and various chatter of people melting and just bodies being burned, and you know, it's a massive panic on social media. And again, love the use of.
I love this.
Yeah.
I laughed really hard at just watched Anderson Cooper burn to death on live television.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I thought this was like one of those pages that made me laugh, but also was like super scary because it's so accurate. This is exactly how it. If like the apocalypse happened and everyone would be hopping on Twitter and you just see shit like this, where it'd just be like, that is the worst thing I've ever read in my life.
Exactly. I think it's kind of wild because there's one of them where it says that, like, where they said, yeah, like, I just watched Anderson Cooper get burned to death on national television. It said, like, it's like, and this one person said, this was the last image on CNN before in black. It's just the fucking news desk on fire. And it's like, damn. Like, yeah, it's pretty realistic in terms of the reactions of how people would react if the apocalypse went down. And yeah, it's like, and also like a nod too, where like the way Tynion writes, it's also people trying to figure out like what's going on with their loved ones and all that stuff, and you know, describing what they're seeing. It's talking about like melting eyeballs and all that stuff. It's pretty wild. But yeah, Ryan pretty much panics and tells everyone to stop doing what they're doing, like shut up, like there's something wrong. It's like New York City is gone, and everyone's like, bro, what are you talking about? And so there's pictures all over social media, and you know, people and on Instagram, and like she's really panicked about to throw up. And then you see she gives the phone to Sam, and Sam is like, yo, like we need to find a TV right now. And then immediately goes to the emergency broadcasting system given to us by the U.S. government, and pretty much everyone that the first message. This is a message from the emergency broadcast system. An attack has been made against the United States. Further attacks may be incoming. Seek shelter immediately. Everyone is in disbelief. They're trying to figure out what's happening. Then obviously they're trying to call their loved ones and to see if they're all okay. And they want to. Then they're trying to make plans to go back home so they can, you know, go find their loved ones to make sure they're all right and to find their bearings. And then first thing they're trying to bring up who drove here. They're trying to make a plan. And then Rick is trying to, like, you know, get everything organized here. And you know, while everything's happening, Walter is pretty much silent the entire time. Ryan takes notice of that, looks at him, and is like, I guess the conversation's over. And then Walter, with his mysterious grin, I love that little on the bottom, like third panel, he's just looking at Ryan like, you found me out. And she's just like, yeah, you picked. And then everyone's looking at Walter, being like, yo, like, what's she talking about? What's going on? And she's like, and she's pretty much like telling Walter, don't pretend, don't front, like tell everyone the truth, like you picked this, you're behind this. He's like, yeah, like Walter's like, sorry guys, you can't really leave. It's all me. Like, you know, like there's nowhere to go. The world's gone. Like, it's like there's no really a place to go back to. None of that actually matters. And you know, listen. There's 7 billion people there's 7 billion people on Earth, and I chose you guys to be the last of humanity. Right? I pretty much want to keep you safe from, you know, my people, because they're the ones doing this, not me. And after giving them, he gives this massive speech, explaining them how they pretty much are safe here. They can't be they're untouched here, and that they unfortunately can't leave. Nora, out of panic, takes like, I think it's like a poker or something. Like takes a poker from a fire pit, from a fireplace, and he smacks Walter in the face with it. And you expect, like Walter's gonna bleed or some shit, like he probably knocked her out. But no, the fire pit just goes through Walter's face in a very terrifying way. And I love the way Martinez draws it, where it's like his body is kind of like not just liquid, but like multiplying in a way too. It's very creepy, and I like that. And they're just all stunned because they're just like, Walter's a fucking alien. Like, what the hell? And then Walter, out of retaliation, he like takes Nora's like arm and like liquefies it and blows it up, and it's just like, damn, okay. And so Nora's in pain, freaking out, and he's like, listen, like, I know y'all hurting, I get that, and like, you know, But I know what I'm doing is the right call, and you'll see it. It's like I'll be back now and again to see how you're doing, to check up on you guys, but most importantly, just take the time to enjoy yourself. I love you all, and he just disappears, and then everyone looks at each other in shock while the camera pans out to the lake, and it says to be continued, and that's how issue 1 ends. So thoughts on issue 1?
I think there's no fat on this issue. There's nothing. Everything is set up perfectly, and it just hit all the right notes, and it was such a vibe when I was reading it. The way like just the way that this final page, and the way it's so much white space and it just slowly shrinks out. I was like, oh, that's the type of shit that I needed in my horror book. I mean, Walter and Nora are my favorite characters of like any comic in the past couple of years.
Wow.
They are so. I mean, I'm gonna wait to talk about them until later, but like, even now, you can already tell. You're like, wow, James Tynion like knows how to fucking write a goddamn character. If you let him. Damn, yeah, this is like. It sucked me in. It completely. I was enveloped. I bought the first issue as a floppy, and then I was like, all right, give me the other 11 right now. I don't care. and then I mean, it really messed me up when they took that 5-month hiatus in between. What was it, issue 6 and 7? And I was just like I was like on a heroin addict. You got any more of that? You got any more of that nice house on the lake? Where's that Hoyer? You got any more? Like the Dave Chappelle skit. But yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, it's. I thought this issue in terms of the pacing was like it didn't skip a beat at all. It does. Tynion does a good job of like, especially like. That first 3 pages of like that future Ryan giving background on how she met Walter, which again, that's a common theme throughout the first half of the series, is that each person who lives in this house will give a little bit of background on how they know Walter, and how that ties to their character in terms of the situation. But yeah, I love that intro to start off, and then when we get introduced to Tynion gives out, okay, backstory on Walter in terms of this person's character's perspective of him. What each character is about, who they are, their occupation, their personality, off rip, and then bomb drops immediately at the end of the world, and then the immediate aftermath of their reaction and the reveal that Walter's not human. Again, it does a really good job of dragging you in off rip, and which is what a first issue of a series should be doing. All right, so I thought to that aspect of that, Tynion did a great job. Also, like this series is my first introduction to Alvaro's Martinez Bueno's art, and like it's incredible. It's very like,
dude. It's like like as much as I like to gush about Tynion's writing, I think the art is so ethereal and it matches the tone of the book so well that I think if you got any other artist on this book, I don't think it would hit as hard.
Yeah, and the thing is like it reminds me a lot of like, it's similar to like Greg Smallwood, but like it's not as clean as Greg Smallwood. Like, it's a little sketchier, and I like that a lot. And the fact that Jordi Belair, who again Jordi Belair is I think is like the one of the biggest colorists out right now, but the fact that Jordi Belair does a really good job with like giving this book a painted look and enhancing like with the colors and enhancing Bueno's art that way, I think it looks well done. Especially with the way they do Walter, like his creepy like flowy alien form is like genuinely terrifying. It's almost terrifying things I've seen in a horror book in a while. So yeah, I think it's really well done.
Just the way he makes him look like he's almost like a gas, like he's not he's like a ghost who's not real. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's such an incredible way to do an unstoppable alien force is like takes the form of like a man, but who is in actuality like almost an unfathomable like spirit, which is so interesting to me.
So interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say. I mean, I knew off rip. I think Nora was my favorite character when I first read this first issue. Before I was like, I love Nora a lot. She's great, very, very, very straight to the point and just brutally honest, and I love it.
It's great. Nora's a little. I love Nora being the like almost like I'm a writer. No one gets me. I smoke cigarettes and I'm bitchy at everyone, and I'm like, I fucking love that. Give me more of that.
Exactly.
That's what I came here for.
But yeah, I mean, I got no other thoughts. So I guess we'll just get right into issue number 2. So yeah, the Nice House on the Lake, number 2. Again, great cover, man. These covers are amazing. I yeah, it's so good, and it's just like, like it's very horror, like the bathtub with I believe this is Rick, with Rick, and you have all the other characters smushed in front of it. I think it's so well done.
And like one thing I have to point out that I realized when I was looking through these covers was like, I love that the lighting is used as like a camera flash. You know what I mean? To give it that little bit of like even more of a horror edge. The fact that you can see the camera flash reflection on like the window, and it's just like a perfect circle, and all of them have this little like camera flash effect on all the covers, and they all look so. It makes them just look so like eerie.
Yeah, eerie and just unsettling. Yeah, man. I think I think the more unsettling thing is like he loves to wear Crocs. Man, that's kind of wild.
Just, what's wrong with them, huh?
Listen, man, I'm not getting to that right now. But yeah, so this issue kind of starts off with this issue is focused on Rick, the pianist, and he's actually outside. I don't have this page, but his future self is outside playing the piano, and again talking about his friendship with Walter and what Walter meant to him growing up in his life. But yeah, he's known Walter since college, and basically Walter they actually goes up to a flashback scene with him and Walter in his dorm room. I think they were roommates, and Walter kind of brings up the question, is like, listen, man, like he pretty much like, obviously there's something wrong with him, and Dave and Rick tries to go over to comfort him, and he's talking about like like how everything that he's going through is a lot of pressure, like there's not a lot of time left and he's not ready. And obviously Rick doesn't know what the context of what Walter's talking about. He just assumes that graduation, because they're seniors and they only have a semester left, he's probably like stressed up on that. He's like, yeah, sure. But young Rick tries to comfort him, like, hey, listen, like, don't worry about it. Like, once you graduate, you have a great job. You're going to have a successful career ahead of you. You got security. Not a lot of students can say that. And then, but, listen, man, and listen, you got your friends from, high school. You got me, your buds from college. And like, listen, man, it's like, don't, like, you're all good. Like, don't worry about it. And he's also telling, like, yo, like, you should call Norm and just, like, ask him to catch up. Norm being Nora pre, transition. And he's like, listen, man, Walter's like, they share a hug, and Walter's like, listen, just don't hate me. Like, just don't hate me. Just don't hate me, okay? For what? And he's like, listen, like, Walter's like, yeah, no matter what, like, even if everybody does hate me, like, please don't hate me. And Rick promised that he won't, that he'll always love him no matter what. And and also, even though, and then future Rick is saying, yeah, like, even though they did go through a lot of stuff in that house, and part of him does think that that he didn't want to be trapped with him, but at the same time, like, he still does fear that part of him still does feel that way, that he still has something to owe Walter, and that he'll always love Walter even though they're in this predicament. So then it flashbacks again to the present, and we get these like these printouts of like something called the house log, and these basically these transcripts of everything that what it looks like everything that everyone's saying is being recorded and typed out for Walter to look at. So obviously Walter is keeping eyes on everybody and keeping track of what's happening. So then it transitions to day 2 of being in the house, while Rick wakes up Rick's up, with his girl, and they're trying to figure out, the aftermath of finding out the truth of what happened, and pretty much like his girlfriend's trying to figure out what Rick is feeling about the situation. He's kind of stunned by it, still trying to process it because everyone, there's the internet is full of images of everyone getting melted alive and all that, and and she talks about some of our friends are trying to see if they can take the boat out on the lake to see if there are any other houses around, and all Rick wants to do is just take a shower and just try to live a sense of normalcy right now, even though they're in this predicament. And she agrees. She's gonna go downstairs and make some breakfast, and that he should come down and join him in a second.
The transcript page also has maybe the hardest I've laughed in this entire series.
Oh, really?
Yes, where they're talking about what did Walter mean by his people, and one of them goes, I think Walter's family is Irish, and one of them goes, I'm pretty fucking sure this isn't the Irish, and it killed me when I was reading this shit.
That's hilarious. I think it's I didn't really read much of those following pages because I'm like, oh my god, more words. But now I should go back and try to read it some more on my own time, get more of that context. But that's hilarious. It's the Irish. It's the Irish attacking.
And then what? One of the doctor's asking Nora, how do you feel? And Nora's like, my fucking arm got blown off. How the fuck do you think I feel? And I was dying laughing at this page. They're like, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's hilarious, man. But yeah, so it transitions to him in the shower. Him going out of the shower, looking up across the view. He looks to the mirror. Actually, no, he hears someone say, "Oh, it's nice, isn't it?" He looks into the mirror, and he sees. Actually, no, he looks right next to him. Walter's right next to him, and I love how it's drawn. Where Walter right next to him, all normal, but then you see him in the mirror and he's all like that gassy, ghosty, grotesque spirit. I think it's really cool. And it's he basically goes up to Rick, apologizes to him because it isn't how he wanted the week to go, and the fact that he's going to need his help. And it transitions to more of those transcript pages. And Seamus, since you read it, do you want to get a brief clarification on what they're talking about here?
Oh, they're questioning why they still have Wi-Fi in the transcript side. They're questioning why they have Wi-Fi if Walter's the one who's leaving all this up and helping them, or if he's actually keeping them captive. And they're also all immediately worried about their families and kind of all panicking. Molly freaks out because she realizes that her husband didn't get invited, so he's definitely dead. And they're mostly trying to figure out what's going on about what to do next. And then the little symbol page is a schedule for what they are planning on doing.
Yeah, that I did read. That I did look at. It's there.
That's Walter's itinerary for the week. So
but yeah. I mean that's pretty much it. So it transitions to the kitchen, and Ryan is trying to. It's mostly focused on Ryan for a second, but she's trying to figure out what's going on, and then she gets introduced to for the first time. Well, formally they get introduced to Ronnie and Molly. And how Ryan knows that they're Walter's friends from high school. He mentioned them before, and they're just having this casual talk, and then also at the same time, is trying to figure out something important, something that's kind of off to Ryan, which is that Walter brought his college friends, his friends from high school, which have much longer and stronger relationship with Walter, but she's trying to figure out why he picked her because she doesn't have that long of a relationship with Walter out of the rest of them. Transition again to more so of the kitchen, but it's mostly focused on Rick coming down the stairs. Sorry, Seamus, what's his girlfriend's name again? I keep forgetting. The
Rick's
doctor.
Girlfriend? Oh,
yeah.
it wasn't it Wasn't it Naya?
Naya,
Yeah.
Naya, and then Nora as well as not Nora, sorry. Crap, now I'm forgetting. There's too many people in this damn book. I keep forgetting.
There's only 12 characters you really need to remember.
Yeah, well, it's Naya, Rick, and then Dave, and then this woman that escapes me. But they're trying to basically the whole gist of the scene is they're trying to have a sense of normalcy, trying to like have a normal breakfast, even though they don't know what's going on, and the fact that Walter, and this is Rick's David's words, turning into a flesh tornado, and they don't know why, and pretty much like while this is happening, Ronnie kind of has like a little bit of a breakdown because she's thinking about her husband and her family back home, and then the consultant goes out and tries to basically have a cigarette because she's just stressed out. Sarah is her name. Okay.
Very hard to remember name, obviously.
Yeah. And while Sarah walks out, she is seeing Nora like on the porch, with her arm in a sling, eating some chips, and Nora's pretty much trying to wrap her head around what's going on, basically being like, I don't understand. I've known Walter for a long time, since for years, and I'm just like, why didn't he tell me this? Like, she's very confused, but also the fact that like they're talking about how the resources can only last so long. Like we're gonna have to worry about how does things keep restocking? Like how does like Walter keep supplying this place with food and with resources without our knowledge while we're asleep? And basically they pretty much come to agreement to search the rest of the house and keep track of inventory and like what they have access to, what facilities are in the house itself, and just keep a record of everything. So that's what they plan on doing. So it transitions back to Sam, and Sam pretty much runs to everybody being like, yo, y'all have to see something real quick. And it seems pretty urgent. Telling them everyone has to go outside right now with it. And Rick tells Naya that he's gonna go back. He's gonna hold back for a little bit, and that he'll catch up with her later. Transitions to Nora and Sarah, and basically keeping track of everything in the house. And I love how Martinez decides to show actual house blueprints to show the location of each facility. I think it's very smart within the panels. But there is, there's a spa area, which they're surprised by. There's an area for a sensory deprivation tank. There's a kind of like a botanical garden area with a home theater, as well as a library as well. And basically like Sarah and Nora focus more on the library. They're intrigued because the library pretty much not only has every essential book in terms of buildings, on stuff on building and repairing, boat maintenance, like every actual practical skill they're gonna need, but also books that Nora all the other books that they have are recommendations of books for Nora to read, that Walter recommended to her that she never got a chance to read. And I love the fact that you get to see that Walter, even though he's a spooky, scary ghost alien that murdered all of the humanity, that he's a huge Sandman fan. Well, that's hilarious. But yeah, so while they're going through the bookshelf, they notice a lock, like a little lock with a key behind one of the books, and pretty much they decide to open it and hope that Walter didn't put any weird porn at the end. Walter didn't put all of his weird porn at the other side. Transitions to Sam outside with everybody, and he pretty much he talks about how they need to touch the statue because I know they saw all the videos and all the images, which kind of obviously show them that the world ended, but it hasn't really cemented in their heads that this is the reality that we're living in. and that this thing could pretty much solve that issue. Can pretty much solve that issue for them. So, and so she tells them all, listen, make contact with it, and it'll show you something. So Ryan decides to be the first one to volunteer, and notice that like Sam kind of breaks down in tears because he's just so distraught by what he saw, which kind of gets Ryan to step up and volunteer. Ryan puts her hand on it and pretty much cuts back to New York. In New York, and everything is on fire. There's bodies are fused and melted together, and you also have people running for their lives, and it's anarchy, it's mayhem, it's the apocalypse. Ryan is distraught, takes her hand off, and is just like on her knees, just distraught. Transitions to Rick. Rick is playing the piano, and Naya reconvenes with him, and they're pretty much having the conversation where like, listen, like I know that we know that the world is ending, and the fact that Walter kind of has us trapped here, but listen, he trapped us here for our own safety. He obviously cares about us. He loves us, and we should make use of the situation. This is pretty much paradise on earth, and this could be like a nice, think of it like a long stay vacation. And while this is happening, it's being juxtaposed by various scenes of everyone touching, the monument. You have David do it, he breaks down. You have Molly do it, she literally is riddled. And while this is happening, he's like, listen, I think we should have let's try to plan a nice dinner for everybody, get everyone comfortable so that they can have the time to accept what's happening. Because listen, to be honest, I trust Walter, and I think Walter has a plan. And then it transitions to the reveal of what's behind the door that Nora and Sarah go that open behind the bookshelf, and it is a bunch of guns. It is an armory stacked with weapons, ammunition, explosives, and then it cuts back and it ends with Rick looking at Naya, them embracing each other, being like, listen, but I can't do this by myself. I need your help to help me keep order and keep the peace. And she says, yes, of course. I love you too. And he's like, always. And while they hug, Rick looks directly at Walter right in front of him, all mangled and just and smiling. And that's how issue 2 ends. So thoughts on issue 2, Seamus?
Issue 2 kept the same energy going. I love the developments, especially with all the mysteries and shit like that. I'm always a sucker for when they're like, ooh, the house has more to it than you know what I mean? Shit like that. So
exactly.
Yeah, I fuck with most of the characters. I do think that, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I found that there are 3 to 4 characters that you don't know about, you don't really care about, but I was thinking on that, and I was like, maybe that's the point. When you're invited to a vacation with a whole group of people that you don't know, there are gonna be 3 or 4 that you're I've never spoken to them, and I have no clue who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe that was the intention, but yeah, I fought with most of the cast of characters, and I was still fucking with where it was going.
Yeah, it's this issue is pretty interesting just because it's now the characters it's the aftermath of issue 1 where they discovering what's going on. The world ended. They're stuck in this house by Walter. Walter's not who he appears to be. There's them kind of slowly trying to adjust, not really adjusting, but they're just trying to figure out what's going on. But at the same time, I love the character of Rick, because Rick, obviously tied to the scene, the flashback scene in the first 3 pages, he has a lot more of a closer relationship. Not really a relationship, but he has more of an indebted loyalty to Walter than the rest of them do. So then Walter kind of takes that to his advantage and has, him be kind of his, not spy, but his, his informant in order to keep the order and the peace. Walter is using him as using his friendship, his loyalty as a way to keep everyone calm and acclimated to the situation that they're in now, which is very interesting. It makes Walter pretty schemy of a character, and I kind of like, and I love that a lot. But yeah, besides that, no, it's a pretty good issue. Again, love Nora. I like how Nora is it's Nora and Ryan are the ones that are kind of, which we'll see throughout the course of the first volume, are the ones kind of more of the detectives throughout the course. They're trying to figure out. They're the ones asking the most questions out of everybody. And I do love the scene where Nora and Sarah are figuring out every avenue of the house and discover all the facilities and also the gun room and the armory behind it. And yeah, when we're gonna see what they're gonna do with that piece of information. But yeah, I love this issue. Was really good. I thought it was another. It kept the momentum going, like you said, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess we'll move on to issue 3 unless you have anything else you want to say.
I'm good.
Nada? All right. So yeah, issue 3 of The Nice House on the Lake. Again, great cover, and now I did like the fact you pointed out the whole like lens flare, muzzle flash effect with the covers. I did not notice that. It doesn't look like it's like taken from like a Polaroid.
Yeah,
that's so sick, man. Oh, it's so good.
It looks like like a horror video game where you're taking a picture of some shit and you're just like, ew. I don't like how that makes me feel.
Yeah, it's just like it's wild. But yeah, obviously from the cover, it's gonna focus more on Sam, aka the reporter, and I love the fact that it's just him in front of a window in front of a bunch of birds that tried to kill themselves on said window. It is insane, and I love it a lot. But yeah, so basically we'll get right into it. So it's a trend. It starts off with future Sam, basically talking about how his relationship with Walter, and talks about how he was the first person out of the friend group to come out in high school, and the fact that even though he had closer friends with his high school friends at the time, but he didn't really feel like he thinks the distance from his other friends made him a lot more comfortable for him to come out that way. And he also talks about in terms of his relationship with Walter. He talks to a flashback of Walter talking with him while they're in college, and basically them catching up on the phone, talking about each other's college experiences. While Sam is in a dark room messing with some photographs, and he pretty much Walter's trying to get him to talk to Tom, get him. He wants Sam to basically talk to basically be his little spy, quote unquote, even though Sam made it as a joke. But he wants to have Sam to give him updates on everybody because he is too shy. Walter's too shy to do it himself, and it's pretty much shows that Walter is is very caring about his friend group, his high school friends, the people that he cares about, but likes to do it from a distance rather than doing it directly, which kind of ties into the series and into the story in a way, which is really cool. But he does make a note in the next page that he says he said he had Walter kind of had a weird kind of pride to him, and that somehow deep down this life that he had belonged to him, and and it's like, yeah, but we're gonna find that out if that's true or not. And so a little more bad insight. So Seamus, again, you read the transcript page. There's another transcript page right after that. So what that's about.
Let me pull this one up on my end so I can remember which one this was.
It's the one right before the title page.
Oh yeah. That's when it's Walter trying to convince Sam about coming to the house, and it's Walter being like, "Oh, buddy, I haven't seen you in so long. I miss you, buddy. You haven't taken a vacation in so long." And Sam's like, "Yeah, I'll think about it." And it basically just ends there.
Okay.
But it does end with Sam going, "Can you at least tell me if Reg is coming?" And Walter just says, "I'm working on that," and then it ends. So.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, so transitions to Sam on day 4, looking dead inside. He can't sleep. No, he slept, but he's just waking up, just thinking to himself. And Arturo asks him if he's okay, and he's just like, "No, I'm not okay." Obviously, transitions back down to the kitchen, and everyone is Naya and Rick is starting to obviously cook breakfast again. and I love the fact that David's whole, like, the first thing he's bringing up, the one thing he's talking about, the fact that, like, yo, we have a fucking theater with every movie ever in it. I love this place. And then Rick and Nye are just thinking to themselves, are talking about, hey, like, we should do something nice for everybody. We should have like a nice little movie night, probably maybe a comedy, make everyone feel good about the situation. Rick tells her that's a great idea. Sam comes downstairs with Arturo's, like, what the hell they're talking about, and they're pretty much filling them in on the whole movie that they want to plan. And then, Sam brings up a really good question, James. I want to know what your thoughts on this, man. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, instead of having a movie night, can we, like, get some people together to do something important, like, take track inventory, because we don't know how much stuff we're gonna have, if we have limited amounts of it, or if we're gonna run out. So Sam's being a little bit more rational, and Rick is like, nah, we should, like, we can do that tomorrow. We should put it on the table for a second. Like, but there's no need for that right now. Yeah, it's like, so yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like, Sam is the more like, guys, let's try to figure this out. And Rick's like,
yeah, nah, I know. I love, because it's such in line with him being a reporter that he's immediately like, what's going on? We have to figure this shit out. What are we doing? And Rick, meanwhile, is like, and it also like ties into Rick's inherent trust of Walter, of him being like, I think we can do it tomorrow. Like, he, in the back of his mind, believes that genuinely Walter isn't going to let them die. But Sam immediately is skeptical of that, and is like, we have to figure out what's going on now before shit hits the fan.
Exactly.
So it was. I think it's such a masterful page that just completely informs everything you need to know about these two characters, and uses everything you already know to, like, have, like, a really intelligent conversation that's literally just like a quick back and forth. But you see their entire character on display, which is what's so interesting about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, very well said. But yeah, pretty much Naya goes to Sam and is like, listen, you don't really have to join if you don't want to. You're going to do your own thing. That's fine. It says this isn't mandatory, and the fact that, like, they're trying to implement some structure here, and that it would be helpful. And we would love they would love Sam to be a part of that, and the fact that they could also use his help for dinner tonight. And Sam's like, listen, just stop. I'm good. I'm gonna go get some air and try to, like, be a rational human being and try to figure this shit out. So transitions to him outside. He ends up meeting up with Ryan, and Ryan pretty much, and he goes to the statue, and Ryan pretty much asks him, hey, like, what did you see when you touched it? And she's like, yeah, he saw his hometown in Milwaukee, and the fact that the neighbors' kids from the house that I grew up with, there were bodies everywhere. They're all wrinkled, merging together, and it's like fire in the sky. And he's like, listen, like, we should be rationing. We should, gathering, supplies, because we're not sure how much supplies we have. Everyone is out here eating eggs, thinking that nothing's happening when we haven't even seen any chickens outside. Like, where's Walter even getting this shit from? Like, it's just, he's just Sam asking the right questions. And and he's like Rick was saying, and Ryan was like, Ryan was saying that, yeah, Rick was saying that he doesn't think that Walter would even let us starve. And he's like, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't know you very well. Like, I'm afraid I'm like this at the best of times. And he's like, listen, like, we've hung up before. It's fine. Like, I'm like, it's all right. Don't worry about it. And he's like, where are you going? And he's like, I don't know, but he wants to see how far he's gonna get. So his plan is just to walk and just see where Walter's gonna let him stop at. So he transitions to him in the woods, and he's walking in the forest, and then the moment he puts his hand up towards the woods, there's a barrier, like an invisible force field, stopping him from entering. And he basically decides, take a stick and pretty much, mark a kind of like an idea of the sense of a perimeter out there. And while that's happening, you see Walter behind a tree in the shadows. And again, the way Bueno draws this is so creepy. Walter's in the shadows, watching Sam, and also and has a silhouette of his dysmorphic, unconstituted self, and it's really interesting. And while everyone's doing this, we got some of the gang outside on a boat. And Sam is again just finding a perimeter, bumping into the wall, taking a stick, trying to get an idea. And he noticed something interesting. Transitions to him and Arturo. and basically Sam is gonna take some supplies and all that, a notepad, some supplies, and basically gonna hike to get a survey and just keep track of anything he sees out there. Arturo's like, listen, he wants to know if he's taking care of himself, because he's pretty much showing very obsessive tendencies that is implied that Sam has been going through, has in situations like that before. He's trying to tell that Arturo that he's fine, he's all right. He just wants to make sense of all this, and he's like, listen, if you're not taking care of yourself, it's not okay. And listen, who cares about that? We're fucking prisoners in this house. It's a very nice prison, and we're stuck, and everyone wants to sit back and watch movies all day, when that's not gonna give us any real answers, because because the answers are out there, not in this house. And he's like, listen, and also implies, let me come with you. Like, listen, no, I'm fine. I'll just do this on myself. Just and I want you to relax. So just stay here and relax while I figure stuff out. So we get these following pages, and I don't have them, but it's him marking of Sam on his path, taking photos of the various statues and weird buildings, the trail that he's on, marking down anything he finds of importance. It's really well done the way Bueno draws this. And James, did you read what's in the notes? What he's saying?
Yeah. Let me pull it up again. I keep looking at the other pages, and I'm like, okay. Scroll. Oh yeah. So in the notes, he's basically all the questions that he has about the stuff that he's found out of what kind of shape is this? Is this like a mathematical type shape? Is this like algebra? Why does this lead to here? What do the full circles versus the partial circles mean? It's mostly like all the information and questions that he has to gather so far.
Yeah, I mean, he is the reporter for a reason. He's keeping track of everything, and getting as much data as he can to find some answers. So yeah, it transitions to him walking up to a kind of like up a hill, up this staircase up this hill, and there's a variety of these statues. He's talking about these weird statues everywhere, and he walks up to it and leads to the top of the hill, where this mysterious black building is there, and it's this weird black building formation, no windows or anything. It's just this black structure, and again, he's taking notes and trying to survey the area of what he can figure out. And and there's this variety of statues surrounding it, and in the middle of these statues, in this kind of like this octangular hexagonal pattern, there is a kind of like this weird this map engraved in the bottom of the structure, and it's a map of the lake where the house is, where and where this mysterious building is located. And obviously he looks at it, he writes it down, and he gets so frustrated that he throws his notebook out, and it's like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what any of this fucking shit means. And he just basically goes up to the structure, to this building, just in anguish, throws a rock at it, and basically goes onto it and it's like, Walter, I know you, listen, I know you're there, come on, he's like, what the fuck is all this? What does all this mean? He's like, and he's just basically he's banging it in panic and is angry, and he's like, listen, I know you can hear me, please talk to me. And he's like, listen, you pushed me here so hard to come. Why did you want me to come? Why would you think I'd ever want to live like this? And ties back into that first email in the beginning of Walter pushing him to come here. And he's like, I should be dead. I should be out there with everyone melted to a crisp. I don't know why you invited me. And he's like, they're all dead. And you fucking killed them, you monster. And it's he's just upset. It's a very emotional moment for Sam as a character. And literally and then he's and basically he decides to walk away, and he's like, I don't want to be playing your games anymore, and he's like, I don't want to be your pawn. And basically he's indebted to figure out what's going on. He takes his flare gun, shoots up in the air so that everyone on the boat can pick him up from the lake, so they know where he is. And he decides to look back. He walks away, and Walter's behind him, of course, because Walter is everywhere. And while he's walking, while he's looking, Walter looks at the building, and we get the reveal that there is someone on the other side screaming out for Sam, telling him that, you know, he's like, hey Sam, it's me, it's Reg, I'm right here, can you hear me? And Walter just looks at Reggie, smiling, because he's helpless. Transitions back to Walter, transitions back to Sam, being picked up at the lake. Arturo gives him a blanket, comforts him. He's like, listen, are you okay? He's like, you know, he's like, what did you find out there? Did you look into anything? Anything interesting to find out? Did you find anything important? And he's like, I found all I was going to find. Now let's go home. And that's how it ends. So thoughts on issue number 3.
Man, the Reg reveal is kind of crazy. Yeah. I liked Sam taking the lead and, you know, investigating shit, because I was kind of like, all right, I kind of want to know what the fuck's going on with all this weird shit. So
yeah, true.
I really like Sam's character. I really like how fucking weird like all those statues look and shit, and how weird the house is. But yeah, the Reg reveal, I was like, all right, next issue right now, give it to me. Why is Reg in the box? Why you put him there?
Why'd you put Reg in the box? Oh man.
Oh man. Man, who the fuck is Reggie?
Who the fuck is Reggie?
Everyone's standing outside. Who the fuck is Reggie?
Oh man. No, it's a good reveal too, because it also shows that, yeah, like, no, Walter has Reggie in there, has that building made for a reason, and it has a reason for why Reggie's not there in the first place. Because I bet everyone assumed that Reggie didn't come, because Reggie didn't come, that Reggie died. So, like, the fact that, like, no, apparently Walter cares about Reggie so much he decided to keep them, but why keep him alive, but why keep him away from everybody else? That's the real mystery here. It's really well done. But yeah, I do like Sam as a character a lot. Sam is also one of the, you know, like Nora is one of the more rational, and like Nora and Ryan are one of the more rational characters. Again, love how using his skills of a reporter to, you know, take on as much information as possible. Again, showcasing all of the weird statues everywhere, and Sam is kind of like us, the audience. We don't know what the fuck all this shit means, you know, and Tynion did a good job of kind of portraying Sam as, you know, like as us the viewers looking into looking into this stuff. I think I thought it was very well done. Yeah. And I do like, you know, for a little bit it shows, you know, that from last issue, Walter kind of has his hands stuck in Rick in terms of, you know, having him and now Naya being, you know, the guy, his pawns trying to keep the peace. I think it's very interesting how Sam is calling Rick out for that shit a little bit, you know. So yeah, I think it's really well done. But yeah, I thought this issue was great. And yeah, so we're gonna see what the fuck's going on with Reggie. Hopefully by the time we're done. But yeah, I got nothing else to say, so I guess we'll move on to issue number 4. So yeah, issue number 4 of The Nice House on the Lake. I love this cover a lot too. Great cover, and obviously this is gonna focus more on David.
Yeah, and it captures Dave's entire character of, like, he's like chilling, laid back, while there's just absolute chaos around him. And he's like sitting in a pool floaty with a beer, just like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, bro? Yeah, man. Like, saw, dude. He's just chilling. He's just like, yeah. But I will tell this. I'll share this off rip to start off. Before you go, Seamus. But this issue made fucking Dave my fucking favorite character in the whole series.
Oh, he was so fun. It's honestly a great fucking issue. I love it.
It's my favorite issue out of them all, actually. I love this issue a lot. But yeah, we'll get right into it. But I think this cover is great.
Yeah. So this issue, of course, focuses on Dave, and it starts out with his flash forward, where he's talking about the current situation, kind of recapping what's going on, and he talks about how he no one was laughing at his jokes despite the situation, and how it made him remember a time where he was out with Walter at a bar in New York back when he was having some girl trouble. He was getting some advice from Walter and a guy he says he doesn't really care about, and this guy is drawn with scribbles all over his face, like
because it's not important.
Yeah, which is great. But basically, the conversation ends with Walter looking at Dave and saying you're right, and then Dave's like, I'm always right, and then Walter goes, no, you're usually pretty stupid, but you see how everything works. Like, you understand more than you let on. And Dave kind of continues to reminisce about the plans that they all had, like, when they were in the house, of what they were going to do to, like, move forward and try to figure shit out. And he mentions that after a few days, the first box arrived with a notepad. And then you get the page of like 3 or 4 lists that all are basically like grocery lists. And the boxes essentially are, packages that show up on the doorstep that contain whatever is written on the notepad from the day before. So whatever they write will come in, and you can write it secretly by tearing off a page of the notepad, writing it, and then putting it in a box. And then Walter will supposedly deliver it.
Yeah.
And then there's a conversation where everyone's kind of lounging around a little despondent, and Dave's like, I'm going to jump off the porch into the pool today. I'm going to do all this crazy shit today. And everyone's like, Dave, hey, can you knock it off? And he's like, I'm just going to go drink then. And they're all trying to get him to, like, chill out because everyone's a little, like, depressed at this point. And during the conversation, Molly shows up looking very rough and asking about if it showed up yet. And Dave's like, no, have you ordered something? And she was like, it's not there. And then he goes, okay, make sure you're really specific when you write that down, because he likes when you're really specific. And he goes, Dave says, I'm going to order a cowboy hat, I think. And then Dave goes outside and sees Ryan and collects his package, where he has arguably a really bad cowboy hat that has zebra print on it.
Listen, man, it's a choice. It's a choice.
Me personally, I would rock that, but Dave brings in all the packages and essentially becomes like a little mailman.
He's a mailman.
And Molly once again shows up and is like, is it here? And he's like, I don't see anything for you. And then it cuts to a couple days later when Dave is wearing a comic book-esque suit with action bubbles and shit all over it. And Veronica takes Dave aside and asks her to kind of keep the alien talk down and maybe like be a little more sensitive around Molly, because she's been locked in her room the whole time and she's not really doing well. And they mention that they haven't seen her really eat lately.
Yeah, she's not taking care of herself at all.
Yeah, and after that, Veronica goes, all right, now give me my alien presents. They keep calling them. And then a couple days later, Dave shows up to Arturo and Sam's room in a full mailman outfit with a full mail bag. And he's asking where Sam is, and he's just dropping off a package for him. And he finds Sam's entire notebook and kind of investigates it for a bit. It's like, what is that other like big like block structure over there? But then before he can question it more, Molly walks in and asks her, and she's like, yeah, same thing. Is it here? No. Yeah, I figured. And then she kind of breaks down and says, he's not going to let me do it. He's really just not going to let me do it. And she just starts freaking out. And Dave's like, maybe you're writing it down wrong. Do you want me to like look at it? And she goes, do you really want to know? It's not like I like care anymore. And she hands him the paper. And it the next couple pages like juxtapose everyone's lists. So like
I have one of the pages. So. Yeah.
So Dave's list is mostly goofy shit like
bullshit.
He's like the Riddler. He's like a suit covered in question marks, a monkey costume, an astronaut costume, a monkey in an astronaut suit costume, and then like electric razor, Sports Illustrated, cowboy hat with parentheses zebra print, and then the 3 most expensive watches, the 3 most expensive bottles, every Academy Award won by the Lord of the Rings trilogy, a weighted blanket, and then the next day he says a lighter weighted blanket, first appearance of Batman, first appearance of Superman, more liquor,
it's great,
Viagra,
it's great.
And then he says fleshlight, don't judge me, bro, in parentheses, and then sexy underwear.
Oh man, it's
and then
great.
Everyone else has like normal stuff that's not like Dave, where it's like a telescope, a blank sheet of some blank sheet music, a blank notebook for writing, 5 packs of Marlboro Reds.
Which you know is from Nora.
Yeah, because you know it's Nora's because it's like a sheet of blank paper, 5 packs of menthols, and some magic mushrooms.
Also, I wanna rewind the tape a little bit. The fact that on day 25, fucking David asks every piece of clothing Leonardo DiCaprio packed from his last
vacation. It's good. And then you get everyone's like normal ones where you're like, oh, 2 cartons of National Spirit Blues, and then you get Molly's, which is like it's like a gut punch, because then you see Molly's where it's like she keeps asking for her husband back, where she's just like, Cameron Michael Reynolds, my husband Cameron Michael Reynolds, my husband Cameron Michael Reynolds alive, Cameron, my mom, my dad alive, and then give me my fucking husband back, Walter, and then handgun and bullets, enough rope, and then for the past couple of days, the one thing that she was looking for David was the straight razor. Mm-hmm. And David kind of reads that, and he in his room, and he's immediately like, just like fucking cooked, because he's like, that's so depressing.
Lost it.
Dave's immediately like, oh shit. Then it cuts to a day later, where people are talking in the library, and Dave walks down, and they're like, "Oh, have you eaten yet?" No. And then he goes outside, and he checks the packages, and he sees one for himself, and then he sees Walter standing off like the edge of the porch, just staring at him. Dude, and Dave's like, Walter, you know, you could have just told us the rules, man. And he looks like so disappointed in Walter. Walter continues to be alien, and he refuses to like fully be human at that point. And I'm like, oh.
Also, you missed something for a second. You forgot to mention that the fucking bird turned into a package.
Oh yeah. I totally forgot.
You gotta mention that, man, because it's so weird.
I totally forgot, but yeah, the bird did turn into a package, and I was like, oh.
Birds are packages in this world. This isn't even walls. This is how everyone just gets their mail in pre-apocalypse.
Yeah. And then he finally gets his package, and he goes to give his package to Molly, and she opens it up, and it's a straight razor. And David basically talks to her, and he says I think you've been looking for permission to do it. Like, you could have done it yourself at this point, but you wanted to put it in Walter's hands, and you're kind of like in between of whether or not you actually want to do it. And he's like, I know you're hurting so bad, and it's like such a terrible situation. And he goes, but there's like nowhere else for us to go, and the fact that we are trapped here should make you so fucking angry that you just want to stick it out, just to help us figure it out how to stick it to Walter. And then he goes, I want to show you something I figured out last night. And they show up to the big dinner that Naya cooked. And Dave walks in and is like, there's something that we need to talk about. And he's covered in blood. Mm-hmm. And they're like,
everyone's like, yo, what the hell?
Everyone's like, what the fuck? And he's like, hey, relax, okay? And he mentions how everyone's been kind of keeping secrets from each other. Like, how Nora and Sarah know something the rest of us don't, and they're being weird. How Sam found all that shit when he explored. And he goes, I know it really sucks, but like, we are a group, and we need to actually work together if we are to like actually able to beat Walter. And then the issue ends with him slitting his own neck with a straight razor, and him saying, "We can't die. He won't let us, so we have to learn how to live." And that's how issue 4 ends. And it's just like the most like, what the fuck?
I loved it. I was like, bruh, that's where you had a fucking book, dude. Like, that's where you had the issue. Oh man, but yeah, no, it's my favorite. It's my favorite issue, I think, out of the first volume because the character because you know like you've seen Cabin in the Woods, right?
Yeah,
right?
Oh yeah,
Cabin in the Woods.
Of course.
Like you have that one character who's considered the fool, but he is ends up being the most like rational and like smartest character out of them all. Like it's the same thing with Dave in this book. Like, and Walter called him out on it in the when during the flashback where it's like, yeah, you know how everything works. Like you know more than you're letting on. You're just using the stupidity as kind of a mask in a way. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because throughout the course, I love the fact that throughout the course of this book, you see Dave pretty much being the comedic dumbass that he is. He's just buying dumb shit that he doesn't actually need because he can, and it gets so funny. But throughout the course of the book,
because it like makes him laugh, just because he's like, it's just silly.
Yeah, he's just being a clown because that's how, I guess that's how he copes with difficult situations, just being a clown and being a goofball, Yeah. But the fact that a character that is a goofball all the time, that everyone around him, everyone in the house around him doesn't take him seriously, and they think he's just him being an idiot. He's the one that actually has to bring everyone back to earth and be like, guys, we have to fucking figure this shit out as a team. Like, being separate isn't going to solve any of our problems. And yeah, guess what? He can't let us die either. So like, that's also a plus. So yeah, he was the one, like the dumbest character had to reveal the biggest secret out of them all, which is that Walter won't let them die anyway. So it's great. It's so brilliantly written the way Tynion writes it,
I can easily. It's one of my favorite issues. There is another one in the second half, in like issue 7 and 12 that I think goes a little harder. But this was like the moment where I'm like, I'm in for whatever happens for the rest of the series. You can't make me stop reading this, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, man. I think if issue number 1 didn't do it for me in terms of grabbing me, this definitely did, because I was like, oh shit, you don't see this coming. You don't see it coming at all, and yeah, but yeah, no, I think this issue is really good. All the stuff with Molly about the whole like suicide angle, that was really interesting, and the fact that David kind of does call her out the fact, like you can't actually you can't actually push to do it yourself. You're just letting Walter kind of like turn the wheels to make you end up killing yourself. She doesn't know that she can't die anyway. But yeah, I thought that was a really interesting angle to take with her character. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. I love this issue a lot. It's so good. That ending is amazing. Yeah, so I guess we'll move on to issue number 5. So
again, love this. Love that the telescope is looking up at the stars falling out of the sky. That's just
great. It's so good. It's so good.
So as you can tell by the cover, this issue, the opening flash forward is focusing on Veronica, and Veronica talks about how the first time they met, Veronica met kind of like the high school friend, like Walter's first couple of friends with Nora and Reg, when she was dating Nora before Nora transitioned, and Reg kind of reads the room and takes Nora out of the room and leaves Walter and Veronica alone because they have like some tension together, and Walter's like, I don't hate it. Like, he's immediately like, I don't hate you. And then she's like, and then Walter's like, I'm sorry I'm being like so weird. I just don't know. He's mostly trying to be super protective of Norm at the time, and they kind of like, have like this kind of heart to heart that's very nice, and Walter kind of starts losing it, where he's like, I didn't I didn't think I would like so many of you. And Veronica's like, what? And you see Walter start to change, and he goes, people. I thought it was going to be easy. I only have so many spaces to fill, and I have such an important responsibility. And that's when he just starts like fully morphing. Veronica freaks the fuck out, and he's like,
Yeah.
I can see how much you guys care about each other, and it's just going to make it so hard. And he's like, and Veronica kind of freaks out, and Walter really quick says, forget, and she fucking forgets. She loses her memories. And Walter then looks at her, and it's one of my favorite panels of him in like this like it's this really scratched up art where he just says, Norm tells me you like the stars. Tell me about the stars. And it's like so like, oh, Walter,
so
that's
weird.
freaky. And then cuts back to Veronica in the future, and she's like, I didn't remember that when it happened, but I guess there's a lot of stuff I didn't remember, especially from my time in the house. And he said Walter was always the one making she says Walter was always the ones making the decisions in the group, but Reg was the one who guided those decisions, and it kind of insinuates that, you know, Reg and Nora are both like more important to Walter's decision making than he lets on.
Yeah.
And then
just real quick, I wanted to just say that I find it kind of interesting the fact that that I love this page a lot, just because it that showcases, yeah, like there are because Walter has this ability to make them forget anytime he wants. So the fact that, you know, there may be a lot more holes into, like, you know, how they even got there or why they're even there in the first place. Maybe they've already found everything out already earlier, and Walter could have wiped it out. Like, anything is possible at this point in terms of, you know, what's actually going on. So I think this page is, I love this page a lot for that. It's just creepy as shit. So creepy.
Yeah, and I like how, like, as Walter slowly gets more unhinged, you see the panels, like they're tilting and shifting a little bit, like his whole body's moving and shifting. It's just so well done. I fucking love this book, bro. So then the next page we get another transcript where David is talking to everyone about, you know, slitting his own throat and how we all have to work together, and how he's talking about how everyone's kind of receding into themselves, waiting for it to be over. But the only way to beat David is for us to love each other and work with each other, because we are all the family that we have left and shit like that. And everyone's like, David, are you insane? Are you fucking crazy? And they're like, wait, look, he's like healing. Like his neck is actually like a Wolverine healing factor, just coming back together. And immediately Naya pulls up and is like, did you feel that? Like, what's going on? Like, she's immediately like goes into doctor mode. He's like, holy shit. So like, does that mean he deactivated our nerves, or like, or does he keeping our functional systems alive? And everyone else is more like, what the fuck? Like, Arturo's like, I'm gonna be sick. That looks disgusting. And then Nora tells everyone to shut the fuck up and calm down. And then the next page cuts to the actual visual of Nora standing up and saying, shut the fuck up.
And just also to note, on that transcript page, I don't have it, but there is an African American man's finger pointed at it. So that's kind of
touching, like covering half of it, and you're like, so this isn't Walter reading this. This is presumably
Reggie reading it. Yeah.
Which is why does he have the transcript? Is that like box like the House of Communications for Walter, and it's like his home page.
Exactly.
And the captain. And I was like, and so Nora says that if Naya hadn't patched her up on day one, they would have known about the healing factor shit. So, like, Walter definitely told us all the rules on day one, and we just weren't listening.
Yeah.
And then Arturo makes the point of, if he wanted us to know, he wouldn't. Why wouldn't he just be clear about the rules? Like, why did he have to be? Like, if he wanted to tell us the rules to keep us safe, why didn't on day one he just list the rules instead of being sly about it by cutting off Nora's arm? And then Sam butts in and goes, "'Cause he's an asshole." And then Veronica makes the astute assumption that, what if he can't tell us the rules? Like, what if there's something else that is limiting him? And it's something that he, like, obviously the rules are something he wanted to tell them, but he couldn't for some reason. So Veronica makes the point that they're assuming that because he caused the end of the world that he has malicious intent. But what if, like, he is actually, in his own fucked up way, saving us and trying to keep us, like, locked in, like, a gilded cage, so that way we don't end up like the outside world. And Molly makes the point of, like, okay, but are we still supposed to be, like, okay with that?
Yeah, true.
I still think that's fucked up. And so then they kind of all formulate plans and shit to do, of, like, they're gonna clean up for now, but they're gonna, like, try to figure out what to do next. And so then there's this big page that they collected of all the facts that they know at this point, of separated into the features of the house that list all the crazy shit that they found. Where are we and how do we get here? Of, like, no one remembers traveling to the Wisconsin mountains. Like, there are no mountains in Wisconsin, so what are those mountains? Like, where are we? Are we on a spaceship? Are we in another dimension? And then questions about Walter, of, like, is he, like, an interdimensional being? Is he a hologram? Is he a flesh tornado? How old is he? Was he ever, like, a real human that just that was, the body was snatched? And also, why would an alien have to go to high school and college?
Yeah. See, they're asking the real questions here too. Like,
and then in big bold letters at the bottom, it just says, "Why did he take us?" And then it cuts to David holding a gun and saying "fucking cool," and everyone going, "God, get that away from him."
Oh my God. Okay, well, first off, before we even get into David about to shoot everybody, I do want to mention you kind of missed one thing where Ryan walks out while everyone is, like, talking to each other. She just steps aside and then notices Rick in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, in the woods. I did.
Where he's just, like, begging, like, he's like, Walter.
Rick is going insane trying to talk to Walter and be like, "Please, bro, I love you." And Ryan's like, "Oh, that boy's insane." Anyway, cutting back to Dave with a gun. My man got an AR-15.
Oh man.
He's like, "It is cool," and everyone's like, "Stop, that's not cool." And he goes, "But it is cool because I could shoot all you and you'd be fine." And everyone's like, "Yeah, but we don't want to be shot, David." And then they talk about how they found a bunch of other explosives in, like, the safe underneath and shit. And so they get Sam's research together, and they're like, "Okay, so where's this like, thing?" And they start pulling out all these pictures of the big, black structure in the middle of the statue garden. And Sam's like, "I have no clue what this is. It feels more like a sculpture than it is like a structure." And everyone's kind of like, "You found this and you didn't say shit." And he's like, "No one seemed like they wanted to care. Like, everyone was, like, about ready to, like, just lay down and die. So I didn't think it mattered all too much." And then everyone's kind of yelling at Sam. And Sam's like, "Hey, it's not like any of you guys were honest either. Like, obviously you guys knew shit too. So why are you yelling at me when, everyone else also was hiding shit?" And everyone kind of comes together and chills out. And they decide to all take the boat and go to to investigate the structure together with the explosives they found in the gun. And so on the boat ride, they mentioned, I think it was Amali Veronica, that she was supposed to, like, talk about something, and it was how when she was looking through her telescope, that there was supposed to be a meteor shower that didn't happen. And then she realizes that the sky is like fixed in place above them. That it's not like the sky has changed or like anything has happened since when it's supposed to. It's like it's almost like a projection of what the sky was the day the world ended. And David's like, what does that mean? And Veronica's like, I got no idea. Which is so valid.
Yeah, it's valid. It's like, I'm a scientist, I don't know shit.
They're like, yeah, I can't tell you why the aliens would fix the sky in the same place. And so they all show up to the statue garden, and they're kind of questioning like what the hell it is. David's really excited. David's in like army fatigues and a G.I. Joe fit with his gun.
Dude, it's so
he's
fun.
like cosplaying. And everyone's like, okay, let's have everyone stand behind the statue. And then David goes up and he just starts opening fire on the
He just unloads. It is so funny. He empties the whole damn clip.
And he goes, and after he shoots it and nothing happens, he goes, you know, Ronnie, I don't think this is glass, so like maybe it is a spaceship. And then everyone's like, all right, David, yeah, all right. So then they bring out the explosives and they put it down and have everyone stand back while they give David the detonator again. And David shoots the explosives, it blows up, and it causes an entire crater, but the whole structure is still untouched. So when they explode the structure, that's when Ryan looks around and realizes that some of the statues on around the structure have their symbols on it. And they decide that, what if everyone touches their symbol? So then everyone touches their symbol at the same time, and Ryan's like, maybe we need to like ask him like the notebook of delivery stuff. So then they do it, and Ryan says, Walter, give us a door to the house. And it opens up, and Reggie sprints out and immediately tackles Nora and says, it's so good to see human people again. And he goes to Nora and he goes, baby, give me a kiss. And Nora's like, you fucker, what are you doing? And Reg is like, you stupid asshole, you didn't think he was going to invite me of all people? And Nora's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were alive still. And Reg is like, I'm sorry, I'm a little manic, I've been locked in there for 30 days. And
wild.
Then Reg says, we're going to have to work very quickly now. And Veronica goes, what do you mean? And Reg, it gives his little like bio and says, there's still time to save the world. And it gives this really cool kind of painting of like Reg's face that I love this panel too. And that's how issue 5 ends, with Reg being freed.
It's good shit. It's good shit.
Good fucking shit.
Oop, hold on. All right, ignore that. But but yeah, no, I thought this issue was really interesting. It's very it's not as fast. It's a little bit more of a mellow issue. In terms of the pacing, it's like it's not too like quick and on beat like the other issues were. But yeah, I do like the fact that, again, you know, they're asking more questions, and now with not having Veronica be more on the forefront, she is making more scientific aspect. I do love the fact that she does comment, like, there's a meteor shower that didn't happen, and like the sky's fixed in one position. Why is that? Like, is that even the real sky we're looking at? I do like that angle that those questions that she asked. And again, the idea about, you know, them discussing like, hey, like Walter, what if Walter did tell us the rules and we just weren't listening, which explains the whole babbling scene in the first issue, and how, like, you know, and how like it makes sense why they didn't explain all that, because they're all having dumb, pointless party small talk. Also the fact that, you know, that one sheet where they're asking basically like we're going through the features of what's going on, like, you know, where are we, the possibilities, Walter, and also most importantly, what do the symbols mean? Why did he take us? Also, is Walter even the boss? Is he reporting to someone higher than himself? It's really interesting. And again, the reveal with Reggie at the end, you know, him being freed, and you know, the fact that, like, why the fuck did you think that Walter wouldn't invite him here? Like, what? Why? What do you mean? It's just like, come on. And also, I love that heart he has with Nora. I love how he immediately goes straight for Nora and just tackles this woman. I think it's hilarious. They have a really good heart to heart. because Nora did think that he was dead, and I love that a lot. But
he's trying to kiss Nora. Nora's like, get the fuck off me. It's like, even though I thought you were dead, now that you're back, I kind of wish you were dead. If you're gonna be like this.
But again, more the more each I think it's like we notice with every issue, the more we go towards the end of every issue, the more of the onion gets unpeeled a little bit. There's more layers. So obviously Reggie coming and being like, yeah, we can still have time to save the world. And the fact that like all their symbols can unlock the door. Why would Walter even set that up in the first place? Which is interesting too. It's just it's a lot of.
In like the best way possible. It reminds me of like one of those young adult novels, like The Maze Runner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the best way possible. Because like just the way those books would structure their mysteries like that, where they would have like, different levels of like, all right, we figured this out, now how do we figure that out? And it just kept you keep going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is every time we get an answer to a question, we just get more fucking questions.
which is great. That's how you do a mystery, Mike.
That's how you do a good mystery.
And it's such a it's like it's such a different vibe from Something is Killing the Children, because like this is like they're both like horror books, but like this is way more of like a pure straight like mystery thriller. Not to say that Something Killing the Children does have like a mystery aspect to it, but like this is just pure straight like this is what I needed. I don't think there are enough mystery books out there like this that are just
exactly
you're just like it's like answering questions porn. You're just getting answers, and I'm like, oh yeah, give me more of that shit.
For sure, it's very well done, man. It's very well done. But I got really nothing to say. I like this a lot, and I love love now that Reg is in the fold. I want to say real quick that Reg gets his code name that is referred to, which is the Painter, and which I find interesting. Like
they had to change it because he's technically is also the artist, but they couldn't use the artist, so they were like, we'll call him the Painter since he paints.
Which I thought was very interesting change. Like kind of like. They had to retcon him real quick, just to have that, just to make it make more sense. But so the Painter is now in the book, and we'll see how it goes.
Yes, and then if you see in issue 6, on the cover of issue 6, you see that a new symbol appears in the center. That is just a blank circle, and obviously it's obviously highlighted to represent Reg, who is standing behind the destroyed. I love this one too because he's standing like him lurking behind the shattered wall of the black structure is like, oh, that shit just looks so cool.
It looks so sick, and it's just like very creepy. It's very ominous and creepy, and obviously now, especially because I didn't notice that the fact that there was a new symbol that is just blank. So the fact that it kind of just show, I guess, it's foreshadowing that like Reggie is a variable that wasn't supposed to be put in play, and we don't know why Walter kept him, and why he hid him from everybody else throughout the past 30 days. I mean, we'll get right into it, Seamus. Yeah, start us off, man.
So it opens with Reg standing outside, kind of enjoying the freedom. It's because it starts raining and he's just like looking up, and then there's this really, really sick shot of Reg standing there looking up in the rain while there's lightning strikes behind him, and it's just such a fucking it just goes so hard.
It goes hard for no reason.
And so again, the art in this book for like a mystery thriller goes harder than any other art in any other book I've seen in a couple of years. It's just so good. And everyone talks about how it hasn't rained like that since they got there. And Reg mentions that there's kind of an order, and now that they're outside of the order, it's easier to break the system, but also it makes them on more of a time schedule than they were on before. And so then they enter the black structure where Reg has been living, which has a bunch of bunch of like a whole art area where Reg has been painting, and then a whole like living couch area, and he also has like a bed, and then down in the bottom left of that big long panel is all the transcripts that are being printed out that he has access to. And so Reg mentions that, or Molly asks him, what do you mean, but like still have time to save the world? And Reg is like, I don't know. Maybe it's already started. Maybe their experiment worked. But I don't think the experiment's working, at least not how they want. And then Veronica's like, who are they? And Reg is like, the aliens, Walter's family, whatever the fuck they are, I don't know. And then Sarah's like, I'm sorry, I still don't know who you are. And Reg is like, and that's a part of the problem, isn't it? That you don't know who I am. And then Rick mentions that Reg was Walter's best friend in high school. Him, Reg, and Nora were like the old best friends first. And then everyone's like looking at the transcripts, and they're like, "You've seen everything?" And Reg is like, "Yeah, I've seen everything." And Rick goes, "What do you know?" And Reg looks at him with like these very judgmental eyes, and is like, "More than I care to know." It's a great line. And then Reg goes, "But that's like what's going to save us." And then we get another transcript page that is a very old Windows Messenger.
Oh, dude, it's retro.
Obviously from the time of when Reg, Nora, and Walter were in high school. And it's a talk between Reg and Walter where Walter is kind of, talking to Reg about Walter obviously had like just confessed that he's into Reg, and Reg is kind of teasing him about it, and is like, keeping it lighthearted while Walter's like very like in his own head and is like really like freaking out about it. And but the whole messenger ends with Walter asking the same question of how do you think the world will end. And then that's how the issue starts, where we get the title page. And then it cuts to Nora and Walter sitting and smoking, and we get Nora's answer to the question, where Nora says, "So first comes the fire." And Walter goes, "What kind of fire?" And Nora goes, "You know that one bit in Terminator 2 where Sarah Connor gets nuked? Yeah, it's like that." And Nora is kind of explaining almost exactly word for word how the world did end, with everyone kind of melting together in a giant ball of fire. And Nora and Walter are kind of joking while cuts to you reveal that Reg is sitting over in the corner trying to work.
Yeah.
And he's getting like obviously harassed by both of them. And you look at Reg like gets up to leave because he's a little frustrated, and Walter feels a little sympathetic for Reg, and Nora's like, Reg is fine. And they look at like Reg's painting, and Nora and Walter talk about how now Walter and Reg's relationship is a little funky now that they have admitted that there's some kind of feeling there between them. And Nora makes a joke about how she's a terrible wad of flesh and goop. Yeah. Walter goes, "You are one of the better wads of flesh and goop." And then Walter goes, "I'm a weird robot designed to rate wads of flesh and goop, and yours gets like a B+."
Oh man.
Which is very funny. And then Walter has one of his moments again where he's like, "I'm running out of time. I'm so fucked." Or he has like a moment where he snaps out of being like a kid again, and he's immediately the weight of what he has to do is like immediately coming down on him, where he's like staring out the window, and he's like, I wish this could just last forever. I wish we didn't have to move on. I wish we could just like keep the same thing forever. And Nora's like, well, then what would you do? And he's like, I don't know. I'd be like happy. And then while they're all sitting there talking, you get them meeting Sam for the first time, who walks in and it's like, hey, do you guys mind if I use your dark room? And Reg is like, oh yeah, go ahead, Sam. And they're like, oh, who is that? And Reg's like, oh, Sam's cool. We should invite him over one of these weekends. And Nora makes the joke to Reg that Reg just thinks Sam's gay. He wants to trick him into telling it, and Reg is like, well, like maybe, but like he's also cool.
Yeah.
But it's just such a the flashback ends there, but it's just such a great. It's such a like the writing is so incredible because it feels so real. It feels like an actual conversation, which is so hard to hit. And like, you know, I absolutely love this. It's one of my favorite conversations in the entire book, because it's like almost about nothing. It's just them like sitting there like having like, you know, just chilling. And I was like, but they nailed that vibe so well. James Tynion nailed the fuck out of that. And so then it immediately cuts to Nora saying, I don't remember any of this. And them kind of trying to piece together what the hell's going on. And, you know, people being like, you know, I don't really remember that. I don't know. And Reg is like, no, wait, keep going with me. I'm going to continue telling the story. So then it cuts to like another messenger where Walter is kind of asking Reg, like, can I talk? And Reg is like teasing him about it. And Walter's like, I'm so serious. So please, like, can you help me? And then it cuts to a different messenger between Reg and Nora, where they're like they're kind of gossiping off to the side. Where Reg is like, he's driving me crazy, and Nora's like kind of like, what's he saying? But also like, I don't care about drama, but like, what's he saying? And Reg is like, you care about drama just as much as I do. And so they're joking about how Walter caught them at a gay orgy the other day. You know, like normal text conversation shit.
Yo, why does Walter fuck, bro?
And they're like, and then it cuts to a different conversation between Nora and Walter. Like they're all having conversations between each other. Yeah. Where Nora's like, this isn't like about the feelings with Reg, right? And Walter goes, I mean, it is, but it's also about you too. And Nora goes, you're gonna ask me out now? And Nora and Walter's doing the same thing, where he's like, can you please be chill? And Nora's like, all right, I'll be chill and I'll listen. I won't think you differently as long as you stop being such a sad sack. And he goes, that's fair, I'm sorry. And then Nora's like, we love you. I'm sorry you're having a rough time, but you can tell us this weekend, and then we can watch some dumb anime. And then Walter goes, it better be a really dumb anime. And then it cuts to Walter at their place telling them, where he has them sit down and he's like, don't hate me, I'm sorry. And they're like, what? Because they just think he's gonna be like, I like both you. But then he like does that like Oppenheimer stare and is like, the world's gonna end. The world is ending soon.
The world's gonna end. And like the way it's drawn to it, just like it gives you that like straight up just like creepy ominous, be like, yeah, no, the world's gonna end. Like we're done. And then Walter like explains to them the whole plan. And like where he basically explains that the world is coming to an end already, and that their plan, the aliens' plan, he doesn't explain this outright, but he's like, he keeps using hour like he's talking about someone else, you know. But he basically explains that the aliens' plan
is much easier and will happen much quicker because the world is already ending without their interference, and they don't really need to do much to have it come to an end. All they need to do is wait a couple more years. And North immediately like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Reg is like, oh, it's his answer to the end of the world question. And Walter's like, no, it's not my answer. This is the answer to the end of the world question. Like, I'm telling you this is how it's going to end. And then Walter says, I'm supposed to save, like, the best of the best. Like, the people who are the best examples of our species from a different number of fields, like exceptional humans. They put me in a school that gave me a body and hormones and all these human feelings so I can make a more educated decision. I'll make my choice and I'll put them in a nice little house where they can live for the rest of the time so we can keep studying your kind. And once I prove that my group is a stable sample of the population, then we'll be able to exterminate everyone else. And then everyone's like, and then Norm and Reg are like, what the fuck? Like, are you fucking with us? And Walter's like, I really wish it was a game. And Nora's like, so are you an alien? So are like, you're like one of the agents from the Matrix? Like, what are you talking about?
He's Mr. Smith. He's Agent Smith.
Walter just keeps going like, I wish I could describe it. And they're like, you're freaking me out. And Walter's like, I can see your entire existence. I can see how your mind is working. And Red's immediately like, Walter, stop looking at me. And they're both like tweaking out. And they're like, show us something to prove it then. Nora's like, show us something. And then Walter does this flesh tornado thing. And they both freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
And
they asked for it. They can't be mad.
Nora immediately like looks at him with like these eyes of horror, and they're like, are you serious? You're gonna blow up the world? You're gonna kill us? And then Walter's like, no, I want to save you. All I want to do is to save you. And Nora's like, pure eyes of fear with tears streaming down their face. They're like, I won't let you, I can't. And then that's when Walter just says, forget. And then he reforms and says this was a mistake, but Reg hasn't made Reg forget yet, and Reg is still talking. And he's like, well, you want to save us because you love us. But in Walter's like, I love both of you, but I need you to be exceptional so my superiors don't take you away from me, because I can't handle you guys being away from me. And he asks Reg, he's like, I don't think Norm can handle this, but can you help me? And then they both hug each other and they say, to the end of... And so then it cuts back to when everyone's in black, like Doctor, and they're all kind of talking about how Reg helped them design this entire thing, like the whole house, the whole system, how everything works. And they're like, why didn't you tell anyone? And Reg is like, every time after we talk about it, he'd take a memory away, like he would just make me forget about it. And I remembered my promise, but I didn't remember working on that at all until I saw this whole thing, and I realized that I had been like the whole time. And he's like, but now I know this place, I know its rules, and if we work together. And then Walter appears in like the corner in his like flesh tornadoes, like lurking. And he's like, if you break the rules, you're not going to get what you want. Like, you're not going to get what you think you're going to get. And Walter's like, please just relax and enjoy yourselves. If you keep trying to break the system, it's not going to lead to anything good. And Nora immediately starts freaking out rightfully, and is like, what memories did you take away? And Walter sighs again and is like, all right, everyone forget. And then it cuts to Ryan waking up, and everything seems a lot the brighter, and the color palette's a lot brighter. And Ryan's like, I think I have a hangover. And Reg is sitting in her room painting, and he's like, maybe just drink some water. And she's asking what Reg is painting, and Reg is like, I don't know. I think it was some like fucked up nightmare. And the thing he's painting is like Walter's flesh tornado form, obviously. And then Walter knocks at the door and says, hey, I think me and Rick are going to go map out the hexagon today and see if there are any more buildings. And they're like, oh, it seems like it's going to be a nice day. And Reg says, yeah, it does. And then that issue ends with Walter having made everyone forget and kind of inserting himself in the house now as
damn. I remember reading this for the first time. I'm like, wow. Like I couldn't believe it because I was like, bro.
This is where the hiatus was. This was where the 5-month hiatus was. Where after this, it took 5 months before the next issue came out, and I was sitting there like, what? Help me. Release the next one.
It's like you would expect Walter just to like wipe everyone's memories and just start over again. But like, no, I was like, I'll let them keep the mystery going, but I'm just gonna insert myself into it and make it seem like I'm just one of the victims trapped in this whole, this whole game that's being played around.
Are we gonna do the rest of this book? I
don't know. I don't know.
I was gonna say because I might mention not spoiler stuff, but like. You know what I mean? Talk about because I want to. Walter's character is so interesting, and I want to talk about Walter's character because like he's easily the thing that ties this book together for me.
Yeah.
Just how he is such a complex and such a well-rounded character of someone who is like burdened, who seemingly is burdened by their own responsibility, but also doesn't really see a way out of that responsibility, but he doesn't like try to get out of it. You know what I mean? He kind of accepts his fate, but he also does it out of like because a lot of times in the book, like Nora likes to point out that it's like a twisted love that he has for everyone, but like it really is just like because like in the flashbacks you see it's like it is like a really pure love that he doesn't want them, to be hurt or harmed or anything, but he also in doing that takes away their choice of whether or not they want to be subjected to this or not, and I think that's just such an interesting, he's such a good antagonist because he's not evil, he's just like
he's not evil at all.
He's still like a lost kid who doesn't really understand what he's doing, and he has such like an abundant love for everyone, but he doesn't understand that when you love someone that you have to let them make their own decisions as well.
Exactly.
Which is like it's just such a good fucking like character arc for him, and I love it so much.
It is, man. It is.
And I love how they show like two different responses to that kind of behavior, with like Reg being very forgiving and understanding and being like, no, I understand you're doing this because you love us. As much as I hate it, it's like I get it. And Nora being like the fuck you try to take away my goddamn
choice,
free will and choice, and that's fucked up. And and it's just such like a it's just such like a, and it even like ties into both Nora and Reg's character, where Reg has always been in all the flashbacks kind of like the roll with the punches, freewheeling, like it's fine. So that's why he's able to accept Walter's thing, whereas Nora made is someone who has dealt with coming out as trans, and how being like anything restricting their free will and their free expression is something that immediately makes them super obviously rightfully so, super distrustful and super angry. So that's why Walter kind of not realizing how that would affect Nora with taking away their free will is like,
exactly. It's so well written.
It's so well written. I fucking love it, dude.
But yeah, just to talk about this issue real quick, and this issue is very good. It's kind of it's not a bomb. It's kind of a bomb drop in terms of like we know everything, because we still don't know everything. There's still a lot of,
you know like the bigger picture, but you still don't know some of the smaller details of like what they're gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do like the fact that this was obviously not just Reggie focused, but like we get the most flashbacks out of the first volume in general. So loving seeing Reggie's relationship with him and Nora, Nora and Walter in high school. I think is very interesting. The fact that you can clearly tell that Walter really does care about these two a lot, the most out of them all. And and the fact that when he does reveal the actual plan, like what's actually happening in the plan, he's doing it with the best intention. But again, like you said, he doesn't understand that they have to make their own choices for themselves as people. That he can't even though how hard he tries to make them do whatever to make them do what he wants out of their own safety, they still have the right to choose. You
Yeah.
know?
And it makes him so sympathetic the way that he is like earnestly trying to help and save these people who he cares so much about, but he doesn't understand the deeper ramifications of taking away someone's free will, even if it is for their safety.
Exactly.
It's such a great theme.
Exactly. And I think that's a good point you made. It really makes Walter a very sympathetic antagonist due to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very well done. I do like the fact, again, now learning that Walter can wipe minds. The fact that I love the angle that Reggie did help Walter build it, but didn't know that because Reggie, every time he would progress in something, every time Walter would let Reggie progress, he would take a memory away, which made Reggie forget why he was doing the thing in the first place. So Reggie built it without knowing that he built it. I thought it was very interesting. I love that angle a lot, and kind of makes him more of a victim than an accomplice, I think. And yeah, the whole reveal where they all start being like Reggie has a plan, like an idea where Reggie's like, oh yeah, the more we attack the system, the more we can, figure out a way to fix everything. But Walter was like, listen, man, you're out of your depth here. You're out of your depth. Like if you even try to break the system, it's not going to end well for you. I can guarantee. And obviously, Walter is a higher being, is an alien, is an alien with vast intelligence. Obviously, he understands for them as humans, they can try to rationalize a way to get out of it as much as they can, but in reality, they don't know how big of a scope they're in terms of the mess that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see the big picture at all, or know how big of a scope, exactly who's pulling the strings, because they can blame Walter all they want, but obviously Walter does have the responsibilities that someone gave him. So obviously he wants to protect his friends from the people he actually reports to and works for. So it's very interesting. And lastly, I want to make that ending at the end, dude, like, because Walter could literally have just made the book just start back from the beginning all over again and try to make the same events play out as before, but no, the fact that he just inserts himself as a victim, as one of them, and try to have them solve the mystery, but kind of keep them away from actually solving the mystery is kind of genius. And it's kind of a genius way of going about it. And at the same time, they even I do like the fact that like Reggie does have a nightmare. They still have remnants of something being wrong. Like Ryan wakes up with the hangover, like something that rings up with like the quote unquote hangover, and Reggie paints her as a flesh tornado and doesn't know exactly what it is. I think it's very great. So Walter can wipe their minds for so long, but it's still going to, they'll still have a remnant of something being wrong deep down, in their subconscious. It's such a good way to play it. Also, the fact that Walter didn't change his eyes, he still has the straight flat white in his glasses. So he can pretend to be one of them, but he's not really one of them. So this issue was really good. I loved it a lot, and it definitely, I can't imagine how painful must have been to wait 5 months for issue 7 to come out. This is too much of a bomb drop, of an ending, of a cliffhanger. I wouldn't want to wait.
Oh, dude, it was tough. It was a tough 5 months. I was like, the only thing keeping me going was Chip Zdarsky Daredevil.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I guess we'll just move on to final thoughts. So yeah, Seamus, what are your final thoughts, and what would you give the Nice House on the Lake out of 10?
I would give this first volume a 9 out of 10. I give the whole thing a 10 out of 10. Because I think this thing, it was like crack. I read the first one, and I read the whole thing in like 3 hours because I was just like, it was just so good, and I fucking loved it. Oh, and I loved it so much. I begged you to do this on the show. I was begging you.
Yeah, you did. when I told Seamus that we were doing Fright Month, even before that, he was like, "We gotta do Nice Little Lake."
I was like, "We gotta do it, please."
Yeah, but that's why I saved it for Fright Month, because even though this book isn't like it's more of a mystery thriller, but like with horror elements. It's not like a true horror, but that's why I wanted to make this issue, do this volume as the kickoff to our event, because it's kind of like a soft horror, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not like scary as shit, but it will creep you out and it will keep you guessing, and that's what I love about it. But yeah, no, I love this. This was one of my favorite books of last year. I think it was like number 5, I think, number 4, number 5. But of books of last year, I love this book a lot. I would also give it this first volume, I would give it an 8.5 or a 9. It is phenomenal because the pacing is so well done, where like it keeps you hooked throughout because the beats are so consistent. It keeps you hooked throughout the entirety of it. I did not get bored or have it drag for me at all. The characters are so well done. The fact that they actually feel like actual real people is very. It makes it sink in better for me. In the storytelling, the whole mystery, where again, the more answers we know, the more questions are brought up, and I love that. That's what makes a good mystery, and a good thriller. But yeah, I mean, and also, what's his name? Alvaro Martinez Bueno. The art's really good, as well as Jordi Belair's colors. I love this painted style. It looks so well done, and and the fact that they take the time to get very creative with the panel work, and also adding the various transcript pages, and also the various like message pages to give more background and context of what's actually happening with these characters, what they're experiencing throughout the course of the story. I think it's very well done. And the story structure of starting off with a future version of the character in the apocalypse, recalling an event of how they met Walter, how important Walter was them, how important of a person Walter was to them, and then at the same time having them go throughout the course of the initial apocalypse in the present. And I think it's very well done. But yeah, this book is amazing. James Tynion IV, man. I think this is one of the books that I read of James Tynion IV. I think one of the first books I read of him. I didn't read his Batman. I didn't really read I didn't read his Detective Comics. I didn't really read anything before that. So this kind of cemented him as one of my favorite writers of last year. I was like, he's incredible.
Yeah,
but
I've been a fan of James. I've been a fan. Because I read his I read Batman and Robin. I did read Batman Eternal when that was coming out, that weekly book.
Yeah.
Way back when. His Detective Comics was pretty good as well. And again, Something's Killing the Children as well.
Yeah, I read the first 3 issues of Something's Killing the Children. I didn't continue it, but I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. So yeah, he's great. He's great. Also been meaning to check out Department of Truth, because I heard that book is really good.
Yeah, Declan's been trying to get me to read that. And I was like,
I remember before. So I remember he bought it at the swap once, but when I was there with him. But yeah, I've been meaning to read that book. But yeah, man. I saw something late gets overall like 9.5. It was volume 1 gets like a 9.5 overall. The book is incredible. Y'all, I don't really do this much in videos, but I think I should. I'll put a link to the link for in stock trade, so y'all can buy it, because you have to read it for yourselves. And plus, like, me and Seamus, we've read all 12 issues, and the fact that the way this book will kind of be book 1 of the story ends, I can't even imagine what James is going to be doing for book 2, because it's kind of One Piece level in terms of.
It was honestly such a shock to even see that. I was like when issue 12 wrapped up, and at the end it was like, oh, end of book 1, and I was like, you mean we're getting more of this shit?
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
It's been a while. I don't remember the one. Do you know when the last issue was out?
Oh, I think it's been less than a year.
Yeah.
I want to say it was literally like it just wrapped up in December of last year, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, and we're almost about to be almost at a year. So, and nothing. So I hope that we'll get something else soon. But yeah, man, this book gets the Indie Corner's stamp of approval. 100%. You have to read this book. You have to. It's a must. He won an Eisner this year for a reason. So
yeah, let's go.
You have to read it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks. I'll just do the outro real quick. But thanks for everyone who's watching this or will watch this. We well, not who's watching this because it's not live, but who will watch. We appreciate it. This video will be dropped on the first week of October to start off Fright Month, because it's gonna be our soft intro. And I'm excited. I mean, it's gonna. We already recorded another episode previously that'll be dropped on Friday the 13th. And I mean, it's gonna be good stuff. But yeah, you're welcome, Seamus, for allowing you're welcome for me deciding to do this book for Fright Month. Okay, you know what? If you're gonna get amount of likes, and get a good amount of views, we may do volume 2. Oh. We may. I'll put a little bit of hope. I'm not guaranteeing it, but we may. But check out all the other videos that we've been dropping. Check out the Barbie review. Check out the Barbie trailer reaction that we did that hit 10K, and I'm still perplexed by that. I'm like, wow, y'all really love Barbie that much. Be on the lookout for some clips. By the time we drop this, there's a Deadly Class clip that I made recently that just dropped. Check out me and Seamus' Blue Beetle review that we did a few weeks ago, because we know y'all didn't watch that movie in theaters, but we are curious of our thoughts, so there's a review for that. Check out the various reactions, the various After Darks. I think the most recent After Dark we did is talking about Superman Legacy stuff, Deadpool 3 stuff. It's 2 months old, but it's fine. Check out Deadly Class, the series that we've been doing. The Deadly Class is on break right now. Check out Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye series. That's already wrapped up. Check out the weekly recommendations that I've been doing via YouTube Shorts that have been really fun. Just check out all of our content. Really appreciate all the support, and expect more soon, and hopefully y'all are gonna be enjoying all the Fright Month stuff that we got planned. So yeah, as always, people, get home safe. We love you, support you. Leave a comment on this video, like, comment, subscribe. What do you think of this book? If you've read it already, will you be checking out this book? We want to know what's your favorite character. We would love to hear it. And we will catch you all next time. All right. Peace.